Adodo was not the type of village you would easily forget. With its blend of busy market streets, vibrant communities, and the constant sound of life, it felt like a little town, a place where things moved fast and everyone knew everyone else's business. It was in this village that Shewa arrived on a warm afternoon. She had left the city behind for a new beginning. She planned to open a local restaurant business because she had heard it was very lucrative. But Shewa wasn't just here for business. She had a purpose, a sharp, singular goal that burned brightly in her chest. She stepped out of the car and looked around with determination. "This is where I'll build my future," she murmured. Shewa didn't waste time at all. By the next morning, she was already on the hunt for a location to open her restaurant. It did not take long before she found the perfect spot, a small corner shop right next to the market and the local school. The shop was slightly run down, but it had potential. The landlord, an old man, handed her the keys without a second thought. Everything he said, "This place will bring you good fortune. The children will be your best customers." Shewa smiled and thanked him. She wasn't interested in luck though. She had something far more powerful in mind. Shewa wasted no time in setting up her shop. The once dusty walls were painted yellow with a few brightly colored pictures of delicious food hanging above. She placed wooden benches outside for customers, and it did not take long for the people of Adodo to notice the new establishment. On the opening day, only a handful of people showed up. Most of them were marketmen and women who stopped by out of curiosity. Shewa served them with a gentle smile, offering small plates of rice and stew. However, there was something unique about her stew. It was rich and perfectly spiced, but no one could quite point their finger on what made it so different. "This is the best stew I have ever had," one of the women, Mama Folake, commented as she wiped her mouth with a towel. "What is your secret?" Shewa just smiled. "I don't have a secret. It is just a little love and lots of pepper." By the end of the day, only a few customers had come through. But Shewa wasn't discouraged. She had planned for this. She knew that things would grow slowly. The next day, the hype around Shewa's stew began to spread. People talked about it at the markets, in the school, and on the streets. The flavor was like nothing they had ever tasted. It was richer, fuller, and a complex spice that seemed to last long after the meal was finished. Some said it tasted like it had a touch of magic in it. By the third day, Shewa's small restaurant was crowded. People lined up outside to get a taste, and word spread even further. The woman with the best stew in Adodo, the place to be for a good meal. Even the children from the nearby school started coming in after class, their pockets full of the coins their parents gave them. Young girls in the area saw the opportunity for a job and they applied for the position of sales girl. But to their surprise, Shewa refused hiring anyone. She didn't want any help. She would cook the rice and stew alone. And whenever customers came, they would wash the plates by themselves if there was no clean plates. They did this willingly and didn't mind standing in long queues just to have a taste of Shewa's special stew. This continued for a while and no one complained except for one woman whose business was affected. Mama Ayo, the owner of the popular buka that had been in business for years. She watched helplessly as Shewa's shop slowly stole her customers. The local women who once lined up at Mama Ayo's to get her rice and stew now walked past her shop to Shewa's restaurant, and Mama Ayo's heart burned with jealousy. She called her best friend Iyanu over one afternoon. "This woman, Shewa, she's a threat. I don't know what she's doing, but it is not normal. Everyone says her stew is the best they've ever tasted. We need to find out her secrets." Iyanu, who had always been supportive of her friend, agreed to help. "I will find out for you, but I need to taste the food first." So, Iyanu went to Shewa's shop, bought a plate of rice and stew, and sat down to eat. The moment the stew touched her tongue, she was hooked. The flavors were incredible, better than anything she had tasted before. "She must be doing something special," Iyanu murmured to herself. She ate very quickly, almost in a trance, and then went back to Mama Ayo. "There is something about her stew. I won't lie, it is the best I have ever had, but I can't figure out what," she said. Determined to get to the bottom of things, Iyanu visited Shewa's shop daily. She ate the food, watched Shewa closely, and even tried to engage in casual conversation about the ingredients. But Shewa never gave anything away. She kept her recipes close to her chest. "I just cook with love," Shewa would reply whenever Iyanu asked about her ingredients. One day, Iyanu noticed something strange. Shewa would always disappear early in the morning, returning with large containers of stew. There was no other worker in the shop, no helper. She handled everything herself. Out of curiosity, Iyanu decided to follow Shewa one morning. She quietly trailed behind her as Shewa walked to her house, watching her every move. When Shewa entered her home, Iyanu stayed hidden at a corner, too far to be seen. After a while, Shewa came out carrying a basket filled with fresh tomatoes, onions and peppers. She saw her enter the house and begin to prepare the stew in her kitchen. Iyanu had no idea what to make of it. There was nothing extraordinary about the way Shewa cooked. She just used fresh ingredients, nothing more. Iyanu returned to Mama Ayo even more confused. "I don't get it though. She just cooks like any other person. Maybe her stew is just that good. It might just be her luck." Mama Ayo frowned, clearly frustrated, but she decided to concentrate on her own cooking and pray for luck to also locate her. Meanwhile, as Shewa's business continued to grow, she began to attract men throughout the village. Many tried to woo her, but Shewa turned them all down. Her focus was solely on her business, not until Femi walked into her life. Femi was a handsome, confident young man who came into her shop one day, sat down and ordered a plate of rice and stew. He smiled at Shewa as he ate, savoring the taste. "This stew," he said with a smile. "I have never tasted anything like it. What is your secret?" Shewa's eyes twinkled with amusement. "It is nothing special, just a little more onions." Femi laughed, charmed by her easy confidence. Shewa too couldn't resist the way he looked at her when she talked, and soon they began their friendship. Over time, their relationship grew deeper. Femi helped Shewa in the shop, running errands and assisting her with everything she needed. They began to share their lives outside of business, spending time together and talking late into the night. Once in a while, Femi would pass the night over at Shewa's house so as to be able to assist her very early in the morning. And it was on one of such nights that he discovered the unexpected. That night, after a long day at the shop, Femi woke up feeling thirsty. He got out of bed and made his way towards the kitchen. But as he passed the bathroom, he noticed the door slightly opened. What he saw inside froze him. Shewa was standing there, holding a menstrual cup that she had just removed from her body, as it was filled with dark red liquid. She then poured this liquid into a small bowl. She went on to hold the bowl under with her legs widely spread to collect more liquid. Femi's heart skipped a beat. He quickly went back to bed, confused, and pretended to be sleeping to avoid raising any suspicion. He didn't know what to think, but there was no denying what he had just seen. The next morning, Femi's mind was still in turmoil. He couldn't focus on anything. As Shewa prepared the stew at the shop, he stylishly asked her, "Shewa, what is the secret behind your stew? People can't stop talking about it." She smiled. "Femi, you have been with me for a while now. You should know my recipe by now. What do you think makes my stew different?" Femi thought for a while. Maybe it is your hands." He joked and they both laughed. However, Femi couldn't shake off the image of the blood in the bowl. Later that day, he snuck back to Shewa's house under the guise of forgetting something. He opened the fridge and saw several other bowls similar to the one he had seen with her last night, filled with the red liquid, preserved and sealed carefully. His heart sank. Was he overthinking it? Could she be using her menstrual blood to cook? No, it is not possible. It can't be true. He decided to confront her. He waited until they were alone in her house after closing the shop. Shewa was busy folding clothes when Femi spoke. "Shewa, I need to ask you something." She looked up. "What is it, Femi? You have been acting strange all day." He took a deep breath and held up the small container. "I found this in your fridge." Shewa froze. "Why were you going through my fridge?" she demanded sharply. "That is not the point, Shewa," Femi shot back. "What is this? What are you doing with blood in your kitchen? Is this what you've been using to cook your stew?" For a moment there was silence. Shewa's heart rose and fell as she stared at him. Then she shook her head. "You don't understand, Femi. Don't jump to conclusions." "Then explain it to me," Femi thundered. "What is this? What are you doing with it?" Shewa's eyes darkened. "It is none of your business. You have no right to invade my privacy," she snapped and tried to snatch the container from his hand. "I had every right," Femi countered. "I trusted you, and now I found out you've been what? Adding menstrual blood to the food you sell to people, to even me." Shewa refused to say anything until Femi mentioned going to the police and exposing her. "Fine, you want the truth, I'll tell you." Femi crossed his arms, waiting. Shewa began. "I store my menstrual blood every month. I collect it and preserve it. I use it in small amounts to cook the stew." Femi's face twisted in disgust. "Why, Shewa? Why would you do something like that?" She looked up at him. "Because this village deserves it. Every single one of them. They don't know me, but I know them. They killed my mother." Femi blinked in confusion. "What are you talking about?" Shewa took a deep breath and began to tell her story. "My mother was in love with a man from this village. When she found out that she was pregnant, she thought he would marry her. But instead, he denied her. He told her he was already engaged and couldn't marry someone from outside his village. She came here. She came to his family hoping they would accept her, but they turned her away. They told her it was against their traditions to marry someone who wasn't from Adodo. My mother begged them. She begged for them to acknowledge me, her unborn child, but they refused. She returned to her hometown, heartbroken and humiliated. She died while giving birth to me. She died because of them." Femi was silent and his heart broke at her story. "It was my grandmother who raised me," Shewa continued bitterly. "She told me everything. She told me how the people of this village rejected my mother and caused her death. So, when I grew up, I made a promise to myself. I swore I would come here and make them pay." Femi stared at her in shock. "So, this is your revenge? Feeding them your own blood?" Shewa nodded. It is not poison, Femi. It doesn't hurt them. It just binds them to me. It makes them love my food, makes them unable to resist coming to my shop. It is my own way of dominating them, of making them depend on me. It gives me satisfaction. Femi shook his head. This is wrong, Shewa. I don't care what they did to your mother. You can't punish an entire village for something that happened years ago. These people didn't kill your mother. But they are complicit, Shewa cried. Their traditions, their rules, they killed her. They deserve this. No, Femi refuted. They don't. And you need to leave Shewa. You need to leave Adodo and never come back. You cannot also open any other restaurants, not here or anywhere else. Shewa's eyes widened. You can't make me leave. I can and I will, Femi replied. If you don't go, I will take this evidence to the police. Do you know what will happen to you if they find out? You will go to prison, Shewa. Is that what you want? Shewa's shoulders slumped. Please, Femi, don't expose me. I will leave. I will go far away and never open another restaurant. Just don't tell anyone. Femi stared at her for a long moment before nodding. Fine. But if I ever hear of you doing this again, I won't hesitate to report you. Remember, I have evidence. The next morning, Shewa packed her belongings and left Adodo without a word. The villagers noticed her absence immediately. Days passed and her shop remained closed. Rumors began to spread. Some said she had fallen ill. Others claimed she had moved to another town. No one knew the truth. Meanwhile, the villagers slowly returned to Mama Ayo's buka and she welcomed them with open arms, grateful to have her customers back. I don't know what drove Shewa away, Mama Ayo said to Iyanu, but whatever it was, I thank God for it. May she never return. Femi stayed in Adodo for a while, but he couldn't shake the memories of what he had discovered. He avoided eating rice and stew from any buka, and eventually he left the village as well. As for Shewa, no one ever saw or heard from her again. But one thing was certain, the dark secret of Shewa's special stew would remain a secret unknown to the people of Adodo. Thank you for watching this story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me. Give the story a thumbs up and share with your loved ones also. Subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Thank you and remain blessed.